Hello, darlings. Welcome to Z-Star Africa, your home of sizzling drama recaps. Let's dive deep into the final moments of Jhanak, the final moments of the faces we have come to love, a point where everything comes to an end. The end of a new beginning. From Anirudh going against all odds to save Jhanak, to a heart-wrenching final partings, this episode leaves no stone unturned. Emotions ran high, secrets were revealed, and the road for our favorite characters reached its dramatic end. Please like and turn on your notifications for more of your favorites. It only gets more interesting. Let's dive in. It all begins with Anirudh arriving at the hospital and asking about Nutan. Veer stops him, saying Anirudh isn't allowed to meet her because he insulted Nutan before. Anirudh demands to know who poisoned Nutan and where Parasher is. Veer says no one can enter without Parasher's permission. The hospital staff informs Anirudh that Nutan is in critical condition. Anirudh insists on moving her to a better hospital. Parasher arrives, accusing Anirudh of mentally hurting Nutan and warning that he won't spare the person who harmed her physically. Anirudh asks for Nutan's room number and promises not to disturb anyone. Inside, he finds Nutan unconscious and vows not to let her go. He calls his marriage to Arshie a compromise. Parasher tells his gang to go home, but they want to stay until Nutan gets better. The doctor informs Anirudh that Nutan is in a coma. Anirudh holds her hand, crying and urging her to wake up. Parasher watches silently. The doctor notes that Nutan's heartbeat rises whenever she hears Anirudh's voice. Parasher offers to grant Anirudh's wish if Nutan survives. Anirudh says he wants to take Nutan with him, and Parasher agrees. Anirudh prays in the hospital temple, chanting mantras. Parasher notices Nutan's heartbeat improving. He gives Anirudh a sacred flower to place on Nutan's head, which the nurse allows only Anirudh to do. Inside the room, Anirudh asks Nutan to come back so they can live together and places the flower on her head. Moments later, Anirudh notices Jhanak moving her finger. He calls the doctor, who confirms the movement. Parasher, watching from outside, feels relieved and walks in. The doctor asks Anirudh and Parasher to wait outside and begins examining Jhanak. Parasher expresses hope that she will recover soon and credits Anirudh's prayers. Anirudh says he simply wants to stay close to her. He admits he doesn't understand the depth of his love, but he knows he'd be lost without her. Parasher believes Jhanak will heal because of Anirudh's true love. Later, Jhanak regains consciousness. Anirudh asks how she feels. She says she's fine and asks why he's there. He replies that Mimi informed him. Jhanak asks him to leave. Anirudh refuses, apologizing for his past mistakes. She reminds him she is now someone else's wife, and he shouldn't talk like that. Anirudh insists she still loves him. He says he'll speak to Parasher about being with her, convinced Parasher will understand. Jhanak disagrees. When Anirudh asks whether she loves Parasher, she stays silent. He offers to care for her, but she snaps that she's not a toy and doesn't owe him anything. Just then, Parasher enters and reveals he never married Jhanak. He only lied to protect her and Moon. Anirudh is stunned. Parasher says he knows Jhanak loves Anirudh and wants them to reunite. He suggests they get married at the forest temple and promises to bring the villagers. Jhanak is shocked, but Parasher insists they deserve happiness. Elsewhere, Lalen hears Apu's song. Anjana and Bablu arrive. Anjana says the place still carries Apu's scent. Anuradha joins them and says Lalen has stopped working and barely eats. She pleads with him not to leave her like Apu did. They get emotional. Kajal enters with Apu's favorite flowers and places them by her photo. Back at the hospital, Anirudh promises Jhanak he'll never leave her. He says Arshie will be fine with alimony. Parasher gently urges Jhanak to marry Anirudh and return to the city with him. Jhanak, stunned, questions how he can make such a big decision about her life. Parasher calmly tells her that as a friend, he has every right. He admits Jhanak never loved him and says it's time she follows her heart. He believes Anirudh will take better care of her, and with that, he leaves her in Anirudh's hands. Anirudh, overwhelmed, promises Jhanak a future filled with love and peace. He assures her she need not worry about Arshie. He's ready to give Arshie everything she deserves as alimony. But what he truly wants is only Janick. His tears reveal the depth of his love. Meanwhile, at Lalen's home, grief still hangs heavy. Anjana checks on Kajal, who insists she's fine, though Bablu senses her pain. Lalen, drowning in sorrow, says he no longer wishes to live. Anuradha scolds him, saying if he keeps talking like this, he may as well leave as Apu did. Bablu reminds him of Apu's last wish. She wanted Lalen to become a singer, and shockingly, she also wanted him to marry Kajal. Both Lalen and Kajal are stunned. Kajal begs Bablu not to speak that way, but he insists. He asks whether they're going to ignore Apu's dying wish. Lalen says it's impossible. Bablu says Apu knew Lalen would crumble after her death, and she wanted Kajal by his side to help him move on. Anuradha supports the idea, but Anjana resists. She can't bear to see someone else in Apu's place. Kajal agrees, saying she can never replace Apu. Bablu argues that Kajal is already part of the family, like his own daughter. He urges Lalen to give her a chance, warning he won't speak to him again if he refuses. Lalen insists he isn't disrespecting Apu's memory. Bablu says if they reject Apu's wish, Kajal should stop coming to the house. The next morning, Arshie vents to her family, saying Anirudh has gone back to Janick. Shubhankar tells her to talk things out. Anjana reminds everyone this is a husband and wife matter, and they shouldn't interfere. Bablu points out that Arshie should care about Janick, who is her sister. Shubhankar, overwhelmed by Tanuja's condition, tells Arshie to stop making issues out of everything. Anirudh has always given her everything she asked for. Chotan agrees, saying Anirudh isn't a child and she should let him be. When Arshie gets angry, Chotan bluntly says Anirudh clearly isn't emotionally connected to her, and their marriage won't work. Meanwhile, Parasher brings Janick back to his village. He says Bua and Kanka will face consequences for what they did. Janick, ever kind, says punishment isn't necessary and subtly asks about Anirudh. Parasher tells her Anirudh has gone home to arrange everything. Bua and Kanka gossip bitterly behind closed doors. Bua accuses Janick of casting a spell on Parasher and wonders if Anirudh is the real father of her unborn child. Kanka agrees confidently. As Janick arrives, Rani and Full welcome her warmly. Parasher stops Bua and Kanka at the door, telling them they don't deserve to see Janick. He orders them to confess and apologize. Kanka denies everything, and Veer tells him to let it go since they'll never admit it. Elsewhere, Chotan tells Arshie that Anirudh stays busy to avoid home. He adds that she only spends his money. Arshie says it's her husband's money. Mrinalini tells her to keep marital issues private and reminds her Janick wasn't brought there because of her. Arshie says she only wants to build a good life for Moon. Shubhankar warns her not to escalate things. Moon tries to step out, but Arshie locks her inside. Bablu and Anjana oppose her behavior. Chotan comforts Moon, promising Anjana will cook her favorite food. Anjana tells Bablu she has lived without Apu and can do the same without Moon. She asks him to find a house. Arshie accuses her of playing the victim to look good in front of Anirudh, claiming they live off his money. Chotan says Arshie always disrespects them. Bablu says he feels ashamed and plans to talk to the ashram, but Shubhankar stops him. When Anirudh returns, Arshie demands to know why he ignored her. He bluntly says she doesn't matter to him. Arshie says she can't live like this. Anirudh agrees. Chotan tells him about Arshie's insults and Bablu's plan to leave. Anirudh scolds Arshie and asks her to apologize. Bablu says it isn't necessary. Anjana insists they leave. Anirudh says Arshie doesn't understand family. She refuses to apologize, accusing Janick of influencing him. Anirudh says he wants a divorce, is ready to pay alimony, and wants to marry Janick, who is unmarried. Chotan says fate cannot be changed. At the village, Janick asks Parasher why he's doing so much for her. Parasher admits he loves her. Janick says she doesn't understand his kind of love. Parasher explains that he simply wants her happiness, even if she marries someone else. He asks her to stay a few more days after the wedding, fearing she won't return from the city. Janick looks on, confused. Meanwhile, Anirudh tells Arshie he will be with Janick no matter what. Arshie demands a mutual divorce with 20 crore rupees as alimony. Anirudh is shocked but eventually agrees. Arshie says she won't sign until the money is transferred and adds she won't let him take Moon. Anirudh says the court will decide custody. Arshie curses Janick, saying she will never get Anirudh. Chotan taunts Arshie for returning to Beau's house after Siddharth left her. She snaps at him. Anirudh hands her the papers. Arshie says she'll sign only after payment. Parasher asks Janick what she wants as a wedding gift. She says he has already done enough. He jokes that he will miss her, and she assures him she won't forget them. Later, Parasher takes Janick to meet Anirudh. He says Arshie accepted the divorce, and they will now live happily with Moon. Janick silently thinks of her pregnancy. Anirudh expresses his joy to Janick. Janick says she never meant to break Arshie's family. Anirudh replies that Arshie never tried to keep him happy, and that Janick isn't at fault. Later, Janick tells Anirudh she's Moon's aunt and cannot be her mother. She asks him not to separate Arshie from Moon. Anirudh says Arshie only wants alimony, not Moon. Janick says she will cook for him. Anirudh asks if she's happy. When she doesn't answer directly, he hugs her. Parasher arrives and announces the wedding will happen grandly tomorrow. He teases Janick for being shy and leaves. Anirudh reflects on how happy he is. Janick walks away smiling. Some days later, Anirudh and Janick's Haldi ceremony goes into full swing. Dancers whirl around them in celebration. Suddenly, Parasher staggers in. Clearly drunk, stops the music, and tells the dancers to head to the temple instead. Veer tries to talk to him, but Parasher brushes him off, saying today is about Janick's wedding and nothing else. Ronnie bluntly asks if he's drunk, and he happily admits he is. It's a day of joy. He commands the dancers to resume and even joins them. Mongol questions Parasher's drinking. Veer explains that Parasher is hiding his pain. He loves Janick deeply. Worried, Janick says Parasher never drinks like this. Parasher grins and says he's just too happy. After all, it's her wedding day. He even compares Janick and Anirudh to Ram and Sita. Janick gently asks Parasher to stop drinking. He snaps back, asking why he shouldn't drink on this day. He turns to Anirudh, asking him to explain to her. Anirudh asks if Parasher is sad because Janick is leaving the village. Parasher finally reveals that her absence will leave his life empty. Anirudh realizes Parasher is in love with Janick. He quietly wonders if Janick knows. Elsewhere, Moon asks Arshie where they're going. Arshie says they are shifting houses since Anirudh is marrying Janick. Shubhankar tries to reason with her, but Arshie vows to punish Anirudh and keep Moon away from him. Moon pleads to see Anirudh, but Arshie silences her and leaves. Later, Anirudh and Janick share a quiet moment. He says he's happy despite losing money, houses, and jewelry to Arshie in the divorce, because he has Janick. She encourages him to rebuild, and they agree to leave the past behind. In the city, Shubhankar confronts Arshie, who insists she deserved the alimony. He defends Janick, calling her genuine. Arshie mocks him. Shubhankar warns her to leave the house. Arshie tries to take Moon, but Shubhankar resists. Still, she leaves with her daughter. Meanwhile, Lalen scolds Kajal and signs marriage papers with her. Kajal serves tea as the lawyer finalizes the documents. Anirudh and Janick reflect on their journey. He says they will never be apart again and talks about planning a baby. Janick then reveals she's pregnant. Anirudh is stunned and asks if it's Parasher's child. Janick is hurt by the accusation. He demands she abort the baby, calling it illegitimate. She refuses, saying she will raise the child alone. Anirudh says he still loves her, but cannot accept another man's child. Janick warns him to stop. Their argument intensifies until they both walk away, their hearts shattered. They separate, leaving each other broken, leading to a 20 years leap. With all our favorite actresses and actor changed. That's it, darling. See you in the next. Much love.